Now for the texturing part, let's pick up where we left off. So we have a lamp here. I have it locked in, but I'm just gonna go back to the object mode, put the lamp to cast light on those wooden elements there, and we have that part of the wall. I'm just gonna make it even distance of that painting and the pegboards, just so it's kind of evenly spread out, and also bring that clock just above that, drawer here. And now before I start, I want to explain how I went about it. So a lot of these materials and textures that I built are very colorful, and they are almost too colorful if you use them all in one scene. So I balanced it out with normal objects like chrome, aluminium, and then those wooden elements, just to make it seem more grounded in reality, but while keeping all those vases and books and all those small items in kind of surreal, playful vibe, like in Microsoft videos. I was really inspired by that, so I want to keep that vibe going, and I'm just gonna do little fixes on here on the pegboards as well. So pegboards could be slightly more centered to the screen. Actually, move that painting a little bit here on the side, and also have that clock here. Now I'm gonna switch to my Flycam, so I want to look at the stuff closer, and I'm just gonna keep the IPR on now because we want to reference everything how it's looking. And I'm gonna start with this shelf unit. So whenever you import objects, and I deleted all the materials from the material browser, but you can still see those question marks here with the material tag. It's called base, and here is the lines. So we can keep using these to place our new materials. Now, when you download the pack, you can see zip file there. So if I go to actually here, I release export, you're gonna have this zip file here, and once you unpack it, you're gonna find C40 project file. You open this project file, and what you're gonna see is this shader ball, and with all the materials that you can go open up this material browser, and you can go and test these materials here just by placing it on the shader ball itself, and you can see all the materials will update there, and you can test how they're looking. And you can then take all these materials, highlight all the 1 to 25, create new category here, call it HKA procedural or whatever you want, and you just click and drag into that folder. And now this will update. You have suddenly folder filled with 25 materials. So if I close this off now, I'm not going to save it. I can go back to that scene that we've built out, and I have all these materials here. I have the 30 Microsoft procedural, and so I can delete this one. We're gonna build way more over the next couple of weeks, so get excited, because this pack is just early access and it will get updated. So, as I said, I'm gonna use this first material I like, a glimmer glaze. And I'm just gonna drag it. Actually, I'm just gonna highlight the shell first and the draw unit. And I see that I have the unit, casters, tires, and frame. So for unit, I'm just gonna take that glimmer glaze, and immediately I love it. With these materials, you have multiple options what you can do with them. Usually you can change the color, you can change the scale of the noise, scale of the flakes as well. You see those flakes on the top. But with this applied, I already love the look of it, and I could be scaling it. If I scale this way down, you see that pattern of that noise, and you can keep just rescaling it until you like it. But I really like where it was. It's a 4.5, which creates a nice kind of texture there. And for the actual tires, I think tires this one, I use material called Midnight Sky. And this will give me, again, if I go close, will be a combination of nice gradients, and each wheel has its own color, own gradient, so that looks really good. And it has this kind of metal feel, so it feels kind of a rock solid when it comes to wheel. I like it. And then we can go to materials in Asset Browser, and these are the Cinema 4D materials. So if you have a license for Cinema 4D, then you can access these. And I cannot access all of them because some of them are Maxon only, and I don't have the Maxon. So you see, whenever you see this icon, you cannot access those unless you have a Maxon 1 subscription, which I don't. I only have Cinema 4D subscription. So, but we can still get around. So if I go to metals and make this like larger, we have this metal aluminum there, and we can do anodize as well. And I see there's no icon, so I can drag it and use it for our, wheels. But actually, I'm gonna go back on that one, and I'm gonna use chrome. So I'm gonna find chrome material. So you see metal chrome here, and I'm just gonna drag it onto those here, and that looks great to me. Like, this is straight away really fun thing to look at. And I can do the same for I can just drag that metal chrome for those side panels as well. So this is really fun drawer already, and we can keep using this method until we texture the whole scene. And this is what will show you like how easy it's actually using this texture pack to create like this kind of funny, colorful scene. I'm just gonna highlight the Mac Pro, and I see again we have the aluminum frame, we have the chrome. So chrome I already have here, so just drag it in. It will texture it for me, those handlebars, and then I'll just type in aluminum. Okay, aluminum. So there's two correct spelling of that. Metal aluminum anodized, and needs to be redshift tag here. So I'm just gonna do this one, the black one, and then we color it nice one. So we have kind of a brushed aluminum style looking, and we can keep using it across our scene on the monitor as well. So if I highlight the monitor, and I can see that I have a black plastic aluminum frame again, I can drag that aluminum here, and then I have the aluminum frame again. That's the pedestal. Now, for the monitor, we're also gonna need plastic. So I'm just gonna bring plastic black. And I see that I have Redshift access. That this is a Maxon one, but I have also plastic wrap 1, 2. So I'm just gonna do this one and drag it over there. So this is a black frame, but I cannot see it because I need to create new material. So I'm just gonna go Redshift material standard and delete the base, bring in the transmission, call it glass, and apply it. Wait, I need to display glass. So now I can see through it. I can see actually the display itself. And I'm just gonna do material again, call it display. Now I'm just gonna open the node editor, bring in texture. So double clicking into the node editor, connecting out color to color, and finding the texture, which I have textures from the screen, and these are regular 4K textures, and I found this one for now. And then we also gonna drag this into the emission and bring that emission to like 1 and drag that display over there. So now I have a display in the scene which is emitting light as well. Like you can make it like really like shine, or you can keep it 1.4. And this already, I found this background to be like white. It's actually drawing attention because everything else is kind of darker. So we're creating that focus area again by, you know, pointing to it with the light, with the fixture from the top, and this being the brightest element in the scene in the center. It also draws attention. Now, this would be the monitor. Now let's do the desk. So if I do the desk, I need some wood. So I'm just gonna look wood. Actually, a better way to browse this is just go to materials, wood, and I see some pines here, or like wood maple we could use. Let's do maple wood. And I'm gonna drag it into, if I look at the desk, and there is the base top, so I'm just gonna double click wood maple, add it to my scene, and add it to the desk. So I can see this really works and it's positioned well. But if I apply the same thing, if I go chrome, base, cup, plastic, glass, black, and the last one is wooden legs. So again, I'll drag it there. But this doesn't really work because you see the placement of the texture. Like it's weird. No one would cut the wood this way. So we're gonna create the copy of this, call it vertical. And I'm just gonna enter this. And bring in absolute. So apps, float apps. And we can plug it into UV remap rotate. And we do this for all of the nodes. Now, with that done, we change this to 90 degrees. And we apply this to our legs. And now it makes much more sense in terms of, you know, realism, that this would be actually positioned that way. So we have the wooden desk and we have the elements, which I'd like to keep white somehow. So I'm just gonna maybe find white plastic, or I can use the texture pack. I can go back to texture pack and use the TBD material. So for this one, I could see there's a chrome and base. So I'm just gonna take this material called TBD and just do it to the base. It's just a little bit orange side, so I'm just gonna keep it to white. But what I like, it does have some sort of pattern. So just gonna keep a very kind of slight, you know, texture. But if I go close to it, it has some sort of kind of visible pattern. And I can even remove this one, just keep it simple gradient and just have a little bit sort of texture in there, right? Which I like. Just so it's not just pure white. It's not going to be visible, but it's still better. It retains some sort of texture rather than those. Like back in the past, a lot of my renders this just came out like a really weird, unnatural. Just everything was smooth, and that really doesn't give realistic vibe. Even from afar, you can tell like everything is too smooth. You like this it's been AI like smoothened, or you know, so you want really those imperfections and those wobbly surfaces, just so you can sell the overall image. So we can keep it like that for now. Then I was applying to those pegboards these materials like bakery or those simple mats. So if I go here, highlight the pegboard and apply the simple mat here. Now I can scale the gradient, so I can go into the material. I've made everything that, you know, you can simply manipulate the material outside. You don't have to dive into the nodes. And then I copy that material over the other pegboard. So again, drag this from my material browser, and then I have this simple. And I change this to just more bluish tone and more like white, just so it's kind of, it doesn't take away from that scene. So as well, like desaturate this one a little bit, make it this kind of pale. Then the other thing was the clock. So the clock, I was using Glimmer Glaze, and for the clock as well, I was moving time. In that scene, I don't think anyone ever noticed, but this clock comes as a single object, and we want to make it into multiple because there's seconds, hours, and minutes, and the best tool for this is the polygon islands to objects. So you can again find it through the commander, the polygon islands to objects, and if you double click it, it will divide your object into these other, so it will find like separate islands that are not connected, and it will give you the separate. So you can see this is minutes. So you can straight away call it minutes. You have hours, and you have seconds here. So seconds. And now you can texture it accordingly. So I used to do glimmer glaze on the actual clock. That wasn't it. Glimmer glaze here. And then I think I use blue twinkle on those minutes. Yeah, just so it's kind of pops, and we can see it against the wall, against the clock, so we can see this nice contrast. And it also means now when I highlight the hours, and yeah, if I move the banking, I can now animate this later. So this is super useful tool. I keep it docked always, because when I separate these objects, polygon islands to objects, extremely useful. So I have the clock, and then we have this beautiful moment here. This is like separate render even. What I was using is sugar coat material, which is like half glass and half like a gradienty. So if I apply it straight to this, it will apply to the whole object, which looks pretty good. But I loot the balloon vase. I'm just gonna do, this is the vase, so I'm just gonna apply sugar coat straight to that. I can change the scale of this as well. I can make it a bit larger. I can also change this material to be a bit different, make it sort of bluish, or maybe sort of purplish. Just keep on scaling. Just make it around 4. Nice. And then if I rotate this, you see I have this kind of half glassy and half just a regular plastic style material. So we can keep finding that ideal ratio. If I can reduce this. Or increase this. You'll find the balance between those two worlds. Yeah, I like it there. And for we can use similar material for the leaves. So there's a trunk and leaves. We're gonna use the Glitzfire. The Glitzfire for the leaves, it's a similar material that is also semi-transparent, and it creates this kind of variety, you know, where those leaves are like somewhere are like filled and the rest is glass. So it's straight. When you apply it, it looks already awesome. Really magic. And for the drawer itself, I was using Spectrum. So if I highlight the drawer, and I see the drawer unit goes with wood, wheels, and leather. And I think I was just applying the whole spectrum to the whole unit. And it's it's crazy at first, but then you can scale the noise again. And you can also desaturate those colors. So if I click those colors, you can desaturate them, maybe make this slightly pinkish, and make it even more scaled. So that looks much better to me. Maybe even less saturation here. Yeah, that's great. Now it's slowly coming together. I was using Blue Twinkle for the chair as well. So for the chair, we want this to be, I was using Blue Twinkle, so we have this textile here. So Blue Twinkle, and I see there's this kind of patches. So it's kind of creates the patches that I don't want. So I'm just going to scale the noise again. And now it's more smoothed out. So this is much more like it. And this creates such a nice textures because you see your objects suddenly have new depth in terms of how they the light shines on them, and they have different colors. They have like one color if you look at like really from the back, but they all have something to them that gives them interest, which is I think really good for the overall look of your scenes, where you have suddenly much more details in your scene by having the sparkles, having the little bump, you know, having little imperfections and those gradients, and then you're able to scale them as you need, depending on like the size of your objects. This is what makes this pack really powerful. And again, I was combining, if I go plaster, and there's plaster fine, you can just apply it to the backdrop. So you get like this realistic plaster wall. And if I go to the backdrop, if I click on backdrop, find it here, and click on this, I can open it. Oh, this is just a simple one. So we can scale it actually here. We can just do 3 by 3 and have much more realistic kind of scaling on that wall, which resembles much more the real case scenario. And what else I did is when I click on that material, you can kind of make it brighter, and I did slightly purplish, so just somewhere where it just kind of give that overall tone to that room. It's maybe too much, just like that. Yeah. And that blends all of those crazy purples together. And I can see already here, like those pegboards, they are sticking out. So we're gonna make them more tuned with the wall. So if I go into that Blue Twinkle, I can make it even more desaturated. Nice. And again, that backdrop, maybe even less. Nice one. Now we have those two other pack boards. What I was using is if I go to the pack, and I was using a simple mat again. So you can drag this again and create new variation of this. So this is again simple mat, but this time we're going to make it just the gray tone. So if I double click the material and just kind of white and gray, just going to create that gradient, scale the noise, and just having again almost little to no difference, but there's a subtle gradient maps. Like if I would tune it, like you see it's a bit darker somewhere, maybe it's hard to see through the compression, but it gives us a little bit of interest into our scene, and that's what we want. Now if I keep on texturing, we can take the vertical wood and apply it to our painting. So we have the frame here, and we have the painting itself. So frame here, we're going to apply that vertical wooden element. So we have immediately frame done, and we're going to create new material for that painting. So let's just call it painting. And open the shader graph. Double click texture and bring it into color and find that painting here. And I think I have if you go to assets, models, and you find that Caroline Wall's painting in between days, then you find textures, and I already changed it to this abstract that I found on Unsplash, and I think we can do even better than that. And I changed the color space to sRGB because it's just a regular picture, and then I changed the gamma as well to 0.7 just to kind of make it a bit brighter because it felt too dark in there. It's a little bit too much. Great. So that's the painting done. Now we have the shelf and the wooden element, and because we've already done the job of the wooden element to put it in vertical, we can again drag it in onto our cloner. But there's one problem now with it, because if you look at these, and they all kind of look the same, right? They all scaled same way. And also, this is wrong. What we're seeing is just stretched out thingy. So because this is a cylinder, we're gonna go into the material and change the projection to cylindrical. And now we get that actual wooden look that we would get. But maybe for this case, I can see the horizontal projection. Horizontal wood maybe would work better. Probably not. Yeah, definitely not. So what we need to do is to go into that vertical again and create new node here. And that node, it's going to be, we can use apps again. Or we can actually use jitter node. So jitter node will create random values based on like, you can do color, you can do float, you can do integers. So float, I think it's whole numbers. So we're going to do float into remap offset. So float into UV remap offset, and then float into UV remap offset, and float into UV remap. What did I do? No. Float into UV remap offset. Now, nothing happened here. Like, it still looked the same, but what we can do is to go into the jitter, and we see the float jitter. So we went out of this category. So we have the color, float, and integer, which is exactly what we see here in the output. And we output it from here, but there's a 0. So we just need to put values in now, and it will start affecting and randomizing our wood. So now it's these wooden elements get randomized. We're still using one texture, but we get, much more interesting values there. Still a little bit stretched out here. It's kind of weird, like a bamboo style looking. But let's see if we can tile this somehow. Now, this is way better looking than, you know, having all of the cloners having the same exact looking wood, because this is much more randomized to me now, and it's okay, ready to go. You know, if I look at it from the back, this seems more natural. We can maybe bring those even closer together. So if I do like 5 and then push it here more in, this looks better. And you see that random, so that's good. We can go back to main cam and look at our main shot, how it's looking, and I think it's awesome looking. It's beautiful. We have a couple more things to do. We need to texture the shelf. We need to texture the lamp. The lamp is actually easy because we have this aluminum here that we can just copy over, create purple version of that. Purple aluminum. And I'm just going to apply this purple aluminum to that lamp. And I'm going to apply it to the shelf as well. That's what I did last time. Wow, straight in. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is just single. That was just a little whistle. This is just single color aluminum. And this is the more interesting kind of version with sparkles and gradient. But it balances out. Like if everything would be gradients and purple sparkles, it would be crazy. So you need a little bit of like, even though like this is purple metal, so it's still crazy, but it's more toned down than just having everything like crazy gradients. I can see that chair can get still scaled, maybe different color, and we'll have things to finish off. But if I click the lamp now and find the floor lamp, this is the base, so I'm just gonna drag that aluminum there. Now we have the light and we have the interior, so I'm just gonna apply it even there, just so we have it even from the bottom, and it's coming together nicely. Now for the carpet, we're just gonna use the Camilio, which has sort of texture, but it's metallic. So I'm just gonna open it and get rid of that metalness. And bring out roughness just so it feels more carpety, because it has that texture. Like if you look at the close-up, if I go back to Flycam and if I look at the close-up of that carpet, it has that I can't really see it, right? So I can lift the portal light. I can just drag the portal light into our lights just so I can find it easily. I can lift it for now, but this is affecting, so I can create area light just for now, just so I can judge better our textures. So I'll just use it for texturing temp light, because if you keep texturing in the dark scenes, it can happen that once you lit it, it will start looking bad. So you can take it down a notch, exposure or 2, but you still see what is happening here. So what I wanted to show is the texture on that carpet. It has some sort of pattern there that is almost like carpet looking, right? So that's why I think it would work. I don't have any textile materials in that. It's more of a plasticky everything, but yeah, So that looking really nice. I can push it further back. I'm just gonna do a little save here, even though I'm auto-saving the whole time. And let's look at the shelf for now. Just gonna reduce it a bit. For the books, I have used limestone. So if I click on the books, I have the Bauhaus book here, 1, 2, 3. So this is the pages. I don't need that one, and I need base. So these 3, and I'm gonna use limestone, which is fun. And I can use bakery, which is as well fun. And then I can use sea shine to give that like kind of premium book, one of those books, like a magic book, some sorcery stuff. The next thing, we have this beautiful diffuser, so we can look at what materials are needed for diffuser, and we can see wood, sand, text, and base. So for the base, we want something glassy. We can use our prism pop. Or we can use our glass form, actually, which is the glass filled with all these sparkles, which I already love this. And for the wooden element, we have the vertical again here. I'm just going to keep reusing that until forever. And then we have the scent. That's the inside. So I'm not going to use that. No one's going to see that. And we have the text. So I'm just going to use like a little label. I'm just going to use material called Mobi. And I'm going to scale it way down. Just so I bring those little textures there. So I have a little label like that. Ultra premium labels. Slightly more. Nice. So that's how quickly you can texture the scenes with this pack. And let's use the sugar coat or Glitzfire. Let's use sugar coat. I think these are sugar coat and Glitzfire. Those are like the two materials where you can like put it on a basis and stuff like this. It's like half glass and half just plastic, and it creates incredible looking stuff. So just could put it in twist like that, and we're gonna go different color again a little bit. Maybe not yellow. Yeah, something like that. So that will be done. Look at the main cam, and now we're going to judge the scene a little bit, what needs to be done in terms of focus. So we get rid of the temp light, so I'm just going to turn it off. And we have the nice focus area. What we can do more, like now that we textured, we can create more interest with lighting. So we have that top light. I can bring exposure a little bit more up. Maybe that's too much. And maybe narrow it down even further, just to create that top-down look. Like if you completely make it sharp, narrow, it's not bad, but I think it needs some of that highlight on that pegboard. So like halfway through is about right, and We have that chair, maybe a little bit more interest in there. So we can find the white plastic in Redshift. So if we go to white plastic, PVC floor glossy. No, no, no. Plastic wrap. Yeah, let's do plastic wrap on that chair. So if I do chair and do the plastic wrap. So this is actually plastic black and legs. So I'm gonna do white plastic. I want a white chair there. I'm just gonna retaining the gray tone that I don't like. From the pack, I can go back to all, delete the search. We can do glimmer glaze for so the opposite way. I'm just going to do glimmer glaze for wheels, which is fun. And then we're going to do TBD material for the actual chair. And I'm just going to diffuse it to I think that's more interesting. I'm not sure about it, but it's definitely interesting that that grayish nothing that was there before. Same for the table here. I can either use this plastic wrap. But yeah, I think I don't want to draw more color into the center. I was just gonna keep it simple there. And now let's bring in the stickies. So for the stickies, I am thinking we're just gonna do plane. So there's object plane. Use the placement tool, but in a why? Okay, and then I drag it down. So I placed it on the wall because if I use this on the pegboard, it uses all the surface shapes to kind of place it, and it just keeps rotating. So I would rather. Oh, what a nice texture actually. I would rather, just use something smooth, place it, and then that's why I drag it down. We have a sticky. Let's make it about 7 centimeters. That should be 7 by 7. That should be nice sticky. And then I hold shift and click on bent object. And right now we bending like that. If I go fit to parent, but we want to rotate it around. $90. I can't see it. So we need to do Y minus, fit to parent, Seriously, like bent object is the most difficult thing I've ever experienced. Straggler, total. Yeah. So you need to find basically the axis that it bends around, and then I usually use fit to parent. So if I delete it again and just place bend object, and I see it bends there, it's wrong because it bends the whole object. So I can do the X minus Y, and I see I'm bending it. Now I'm finally bending, and all I need to do is to rotate that bend 90 degrees. But struggle, still struggle. Now I can, while having the plane, just have it as close to the pegboard as I can possibly can, without being like intersecting. Just so it feels like it's inside now. And we call it sticky. We create a material, standard, and I'll change the to more like sticky color and make the roughness high up, just kind of so it's not paper like, I mean, so it's not so shiny, so it's more paper looking like. So I think that's fine. We can create multiple copies. So we can create another sticky there, one sticky here, and we can create, so it's called sticky green, and we create duplicate of that material, sticky orange, and we just create another version of that sticky, and I'll duplicate it one more time and just apply that orange sticker just for a little bit of interest, and then drag this somewhere below it. Maybe here. And one last time, we're gonna do paper. So plain, and I'll use placement tool again on this one. On the wall, it's usually smooth. Come out. And now I look at the texture, because I have the texture for the calendar. So I'm gonna go to standard, calendar, go to node editor, double click and press in texture, put in a color, and find that texture within my texture folder. I've tried to do this blueprint, which is like Midjourney generated Leonardo da Vinci blueprint. I was thinking this guy is planning something, but it wasn't the vibe. It kind of immediately lost the cohesiveness. So calendar 842 by 595. So not to stretch it, it's 842 595. So I copy that texture, and in here I'm going to place 8.42 5.95, right? So this now it's the shape of the calendar. We know for sure because these values are exactly the dimension of the calendar. So if I apply the calendar to it, it will perfectly fit onto that paper. Now I can just scale it proportionately, so just retaining the value, and I can see that when I place with the placement tool, I kind of flipped it. So I'm just going to do 180, and I'm just going to do the same thing as with the stickies. I'm just going to make it rough, and I think that's nice. Just going to make sure it actually sits on that wall and leaves a little bit of a shadow there. That's it. So we have again, a lot of work done. Let's clean up a little bit. So I'm just gonna look at the scene, close it up, object, close it up, lights, close it up. And what we have outside is the calendar and sticky. So we can do Alt G, call it pegboard items. And again, the same as before, pegboard, make it a child of that object, right? Just gonna drag it all the way below. So when I move the pegboards, I'm moving everything together. I feel like those stickies are casting crazy shadow. They not at all. I just highlight all the stickies, jump into the flycam. Yeah, maybe they bend too much. Yeah, they bend too much. They're casting too much of a shadow. It's creating weird. So highlight all the bends and just reduce that bending like that. And we can even like do the variety of the, some of them are bended not. This one's almost flat. Nice. Main cam. What else is missing? I think we've done it. Now we can really fine tune the light. Let me change the song. It's getting crazy here. I love it. I love it. I would change the painting probably. I think that would help. Just make it something more simple. I think it's too wild now. Like this is, everything is so smooth. And this painting is just, but it's okay. It's okay. We can fix that. We can fix that in post. Can we? Let's finish the objects on a table, and we're done with this stage. We're done. Let me just double check the original scene, which is messy, by the way. I was just working really fast. Yep. We have everything in there. I feel like having that window high up, casting better shadows all across the room. We might gonna think, we're gonna rethink that lighting. He's coming back to that sunlight. No. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. Yeah, flycam. So everything is organized, neat and tidy. Just kind with the lights. Cool. So when you close it up, it's all like that. It's beautiful. Like you can always give away the project like this, no problems at all. And we also need the glass on that. So we have glass already created here. So we need glass on that window actually. I'm just gonna highlight that window. Look at the scene, single frame, window. So just gonna apply glass to the whole window. Nope. So I need to delete those question marks here because it thinks, oh, there's inner and outer. I see. But it should be fine. Should be fine now. And then also this glass needs to be see-through, so that display will also look better immediately. Nice one. Oh my god, I love this so much. Save. What? I cannot save anymore. Oh, it just kept saving. So Dropbox, when it's just kind of in the save mode, it just protects the file until it saves. So it takes some time. But yeah, as I was saying, if we lift this whole wall, like I can take the wall and the window as a child object and drag the wall up. And maybe maybe that portal light as well as a child. Gonna do exception here. And I can see that's maybe much better for us in terms of the framing. I can look into that main cam. Yes, I love this. I'm keeping it. I like these. You know, this is pointing to the monitor again. We're creating a lot of leading lines to that monitor overall interest. And how we fix the wall. Well, we're going to do the same thing as last time. We're going to go to edge mode. Going to highlight the edge here. We can even press this I, viewport solo. So we can just see the wall. Command, Control, Shift, click. And hold Control and drag this down. So this way I can unsolo and I see we fixed that wall. I can reset the redshift. Just kind of reload the IPR. Beautiful. Oh my, this came out even better than before. Before I had it on the first run. Now I can drag this light a little bit down. The light, the top light. No one's gonna see, no one's gonna know. I'm gonna go back to the object mode, like the model mode. And maybe drag this down just so we can see even the light fixture there. I can move this a little bit. Just a touch to the side. And give it a texture. So we can keep on piling on that purple aluminum. I don't know which one is it. Top base. We don't need that. Plastic base. So aluminum here. Bam. So it gets a little bit of that. You know, if it was pure black, then I wouldn't really like it. But I like it to be dark, but it has some color to it. So, but it doesn't draw too much attention in terms of like, it's either too bright or it's like interesting color for, it's there, you know, it's kind of retains that home object color of like, it's basically not a main hero. The main hero is the monitor here, where we're gonna push in with the animation next. Just gonna put this slightly away. I think it's getting too close to that table. And with this, I'm pretty happy. We can look at Unsplash. So if I kind of open Unsplash.com and go abstract, we can find something like this, right? Or just this. We can try it. So what I do, I You click that painting, open it, find where it's highlighted. I can see the materials here, texture, show in node editor, and then I can see the textures here, open it up, and now I can send to, I can actually open, I can just drag this onto my Photoshop. So I'm just basically opening it in Photoshop. So I see it here. I use a program called Eagle. So in Eagle, you can keep all your references and stuff like this. Again, Bruce Mason showed me this super awesome tool. And I thank him for it, because it has awesome feature where you can just click stuff, drag up, and save it. And you open Eagle and it's there, right? And you don't have to do all the saving process. And the same thing with the Photoshop. You can just drag it from Eagle straight here. So if I just gonna stretch it like that, and then export. Export is JPEG, or was it PNG? Not sure. You're gonna find this texture screen, C4D, home office, assets, models, and then Caroline Wool's painting textures, and replace this one. Just gonna simplify that look. Content credentials, okay, that's fine. This is probably something that's created by the Eagle. And if I go here and I reset this, it should load in the new texture, right? And this immediately screams more calm. So like this, we can really just make amazing rooms in minutes. I don't know how long this took us. I'm just looking at my OBS. I'm recording. It's 1 hour. So same about like last time, but I think this time it came out much better. I'm much happier about how this looks. Am I gonna get rid of this blue tint tone? I'm just gonna make it pure white. It's just gonna open that. I'm gonna do adjustment, do curves. I'm just gonna lift it. I don't know, hue, saturation. And if I do blues, so if I change the curves to blue, I can drag this down here. That's really cool. Maybe like that. And then I export it again. Export as JPEG. Bam. And if I reload, yeah. Now this is perfect. This is perfect. This is exactly where I'm leaving it out. And the next part is animation. So we're going to animate the whole scene. We're going to animate the objects on the table. Oh my God, I just remember objects on a table are not textured. It's going to be easy. Trust me. We're going to do it with the pack. With the pack. So let's start with the stapler. So stapler. We can find it in objects, table items. and we see stapler has two materials. One is base and one is chrome. So we're gonna do chrome. We have it already here, metal chrome. Hello. And then we have the crazy materials. Let's do bakery for the stapler. And then lift the noise. Oh, this is scale noise. So this is scale mask, actually, what we need to do now. Yeah, this is good. This is good. More like 7. More like 12. Oh, that's maybe a little bit no. And scale this one as well. Just so it's more kind of zoned out. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, I accept. I accept. And then I click on electronic calculator. We just gonna do, shall we do, this is glass. What is the base? Text, black, base. What if we do sugarcoat? This is kind of half of the, but like lift it up a lot, like scale it up. We can see insides of it. I don't like it. If we're gonna do text on limestone, wait, so limestone goes here. Like for the buttons. Yeah, I think that will work. I'm not sure about the overall sugarcoat though. If I do midnight sky and scale the noise. Somewhere between 1.3, like this. It's a bit crazy. If I do Celestic Gloss, okay, but I'm gonna dive into this and change this to something like this. Just so it's more matching that purple. And yeah, this is how quickly we texture here. I didn't know keyboard at all. Keyboard, do I care? Oh, you do. So keyboard is multiple options here actually. We can do magic. But if I do spectrum on a keyboard, just kind of random. Ooh! Lift it up. And maybe I'm just gonna tone it down really like pale. I lift it down. So we see of that texture. Yeah, we can do this. And then we have the keyboards actually. Chrome keys. So we can do Glimmer Glaze. You can see it's my favorite now. It does nothing. So it's great. Then we have the plastic, green, plastic. Why is there so many materials? So maybe it's plastic. What do we need? That's what we need. No. Oh, I missed out the keys every single time. Just let's not bring more materials. Yeah. Let's do crazy keys. Like you can't see anything. Why not? Okay, I'm just gonna bring more interest into that. Okay, that's fine. And then the pen. Pen. We can do the middle could be TBD. So we get like a nice texture there, but nothing too crazy, just a little pattern. And we can do glitz fire on one cup. And we can do spectrum on the other side. Good. You must be laughing that I am so ruthless, but I've already wasted enough of your time. Oh my God. This is it, guys. We are doing it. So next, animating. I'm actually gonna change this to 4K and render this out. So 4K. So if you downloaded one of my scenes, I think if you downloaded the texturing, the scene, if you downloaded the 25 procedural materials, you have the Redshift HKA start. So you can use that one to render, you know, so it comes same as it did for me. I think we can even lower. If I look at the light for that floor lamp, I can even lower that one. Just kind of have it like subtle to bring even more interest here. And we did soften the light already a little bit with that scale, which I kind of like. So let's keep it like this for now. I'm just gonna render. Happy days. And I want that floor to be same as the wall. Yeah, that's the decision. Anyway, see you in the next one.